Marcus is finally solidified Coach O. We came into the season wondering if maybe he was coaching for his job this season with some of the LSU faithful maybe not being so faithful.
I thought he solidified it last year. You won 10 games. You possibly could have won 2 more. Certain situations. I've been supportive of O since the beginning. So it's just one of those things where every coach is on the hot seat until you see what they do. We got about 3 or 4 guys in college football that have really substantiated themselves for a bad season and nobody would blink an eye. Everybody else is pretty much thin icing or it'll break under you fast. I think O is in a great spot. With everything he's embraced, this team is taking on his personality, and I think that was the thing that I saw initially when he took over as interim, that these guys would play for him, and they've continued to show that.
Marcus, you're a defensive guy. What do you see from this Georgia defense that can keep them in the game against LSU's offense?
They do a tremendous job up front getting rushed with 4. And especially when you're playing an explosive offense like LSU, the more you can keep guys in coverage, helps you. It's similar to what the Patriots do. They play a lot of man-to-man, zero. They bring pressure at opportune times. And Kirby's been great about this. The thing that I've been reminding everybody is that this is not the first prolific offense Kirby Smart has faced when he gets to this point of the year. He faced Alabama, obviously, played Oklahoma. First half didn't go well, came out in the second half, adjusted, and gave up, I think, 14 or 10 points. So, it's few coaches in this country that this offense wouldn't scare. Kirby's not one of them. He's not going to be afraid to go into this game based on what LSU has done all season long, thinking that they don't have a chance. He's proven time and time again that he prepares well for these type of games. So I think that confidence mixed with the fact that he has guys that can win one-on-ones. And, they're the number 2 defense in the country. So anything else needs to be said is probably just repetitive.
You're not a doctor, but you have been a football player. What do you think it's going to be like for DeAndre Swifts trying to play this game tomorrow with an injured shoulder?
It's tough. We've seen him play injured. The good thing is it's not a lower leg extremity like he had, because that limited him. And then time, when he walks out of here, the juice, all of that take effect when you have those type of injuries. You worry about ball carrying, obviously, taking the wrong hit, but I don't think DeAndre will be worried, labored or belabored because of his shoulder in this one.
There's obviously not a lot of history between Georgia and LSU, but when you played, there kind of was. Memorable game in Baton Rouge, big win for Georgia and Athens in 04, SEC championship game in between. What was the LSU feeling about Georgia back then?
It's a little bit of history. I mean, toward the 11th, it's a little bit of history.
Georgia fans don't like thinking about that as much.
2003 when we played them, they beat us the following year, beat us in the SEC championship. So it's this is the time we meet. Very rarely do we play each other in the regular season. I was fortunate enough that they came and played us in Baton Rouge, and we played them in Georgia, and it went each home team's way. But there's a little bit of a rivalry there because the games are so intense, and it's fun. It's fun to play guys that you haven't played all season long that you respect.
Marcus, from LSU's perspective, a lot of people feel like no matter what, they're in the college football playoff, but it doesn't seem like they are going to put that to chance or be satisfied with that. Is that the feeling you get?
Yeah, I mean, this team they play for 1-0 every week this year, and I think 9 does so much for the mentality of this team. Joe Burrow is because of his approach, and when you talk about leadership being on display, it's how they respond. A&M game was personal, so they played it that way. They were disappointed in the way they played the week prior against Ole Miss. So it's just I have talked to some of those guys, and for them, this is their season. This ain't about the alumni. This is not about guys that did it before. This is their team. They're in this position. They've earned it. Georgia's earned it. And they understand the difficulty of what this game is going to be. It won't be like any game they played this season because this defense is real. And now they get a chance to test their mettle against it.
Marcus, do you think Saturday matters for Joe Burrow's Heisman?
Yeah, it matters. I think Tua lost it here last year, so it's a part of the narrative. And the more and more you continue to put on tape and remember, there are other guys that are going to play championship games that are in this discussion still. So I think it's important for him to have a good day to keep a lock on that. It'd be hard for him to give it away based on what he's done this season, but You know, come out here and throw 2 picks, or you have a bad first half, second half, you get down. People will start to question, hey, is this the first time he's faced a real test, and how should we view him? But based on what we know at this point, Joe is ready for the moment.
You don't. Do you have any problem? I'm sorry. Do you have any problem maintaining your objectivity as a journalist when you haven't had to deal with that until this year?
Nah, I don't care, man. I mean, if you follow me and heard me talk, I don't care. LSU fans wanted to kill me 2 years ago for saying we weren't the elite program, and it was the truth. So as long as I'll keep telling the truth. And if that seems biased, it is what it is. If it's not, then you take it forever you want it. But I mean, you guys have been around me long enough. I don't mince words. I'm gonna tell you the truth about how I feel about certain things, and be mad or be happy. But we all live. The sun will rise the next day.
Hey, Marcus, speaking of 2 years ago, 2017, LSU's loss to Troy in Tiger Stadium was probably the low point for Coach Ed Ogeron. Here we are 2 years later in the SEC Championship, undefeated record. That just progression, how remarkable would you say is that turnaround?
Well, it's great. I mean, and in college football, it's gonna happen. For them to bounce back, to keep the same type of vigor and mentality going forward, knowing what they could possibly be. But you look at Georgia as well. They lost to South Carolina this year, and the fans were ready to jump off a cliff. And I was like, hold on, it's still a good football team. Everything is still in front of you. So it's football. It's the ebbs and flows. The ones that we remember are the ones that are consistent. So both of these programs are trying to maintain a level of consistency that's elite, because that's what the fan bases for both of these programs expect. If you go back and look at Mark Richt's record before Kirby Smart, by all intents and purposes, Mark Richt was a great coach. But the expectation was national championships, being in these type of positions. And fortunate or unfortunate for coaches in this day and age in college football, when you have an elite program, when you recruit well, when fan bases are rabid and money is behind you, it's national championships is what people are chasing. So I think when LSU suffered that loss to Troy, it was just one of those, like, are we really there yet? And Georgia was the same way this year. So you got to stay consistent, you got to stay focused, and realize that this is a long season. And I think O was able to get that message across to his team, and they continued to fight.
The SEC West always seems to be a knockdown, drag-out. LSU, Alabama, Auburn, but Georgia's kind of carried the East the past 3 years.
Yeah.
What can you say about the job they've done in kind of keeping the East at least?
Oh, it's been phenomenal, man. I mean, look at how they're winning now. They're not blowing the scoreboard out of the water, but they figured out a way to win games based on their identity. They are going to physically pound you until you submit. That's the way they play. That's why I think the conflicting styles in this game is going to be so interesting to see which one takes over. But what Kirby and their staff has done with recruiting, the way they put themselves in positions to play for SEC championships and national championships is commendable. And this is why Georgia fan base wanted a new coach, and this is why they wanted Kirby Smart to be in these particular situations. So you got what you asked for. Now do you get over the hump and win a national championship in one of these times? And so that's the next phase. But I don't think anybody in Athens should be questioning the head coach or where this program is. They're in a great place.
You've kind of talked about it already, but the old cliche is a powerful defense